Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Civil Service Examination Review, brought to you, of course, by Gurong Pinoy. For the month of June, we devote all Sunday sessions for the review of verbal reasoning. Kaya naman po, mark your calendar, and please don't forget to join me every Sunday of June to get you more prepared, of course, for the verbal reasoning test part of the civil service examination. I am still your coach, Coach Sha, and I will be with you from 7 to 9 p.m. tonight to discuss with you English and Filipino test items, specifically on vocabulary and grammar. For those reviewing for the left, you're also welcome to join us po. And please don't forget to tag your friends. I think some of you are doing that already so that we will be able to reach and help as many test takers as we could. Um, Please get ready also. It's already 7 o'clock. Please get ready with your test materials. The test questionnaire has already been shared to those who are members of the Gurong Pinoy. And in the same manner, the full video of tonight's review session is exclusively shared to those who are members of the Gurong Pinoy. So if you have not yet joined our team, please do so. Please kindly visit us on Facebook. And don't forget to follow us so that you get to be notified of recent updates and news, of course, about either the LEP or the civil service examination. All right? Good evening po sa mga nakapag-join in the last two sessions in May. Welcome once again. For those who are new members, welcome din po dito sa Civil Service Examination Review. And I wish that tonight's session will be as productive as it will prepare you for the upcoming examination. All right? So get ready with your pencils and your notebooks if you have, but if you have none, get ready with your typing fingers. Let's begin. It's only apt that we start our session with an invocation. So I invite everyone to dispose yourselves properly as we offer tonight's session to our Almighty Father. Lord, we know that you are always with us and you love us. Give us peace of mind as we prepare for this time of study. Help us to focus on the discussion. Keep us from all distractions so that we will make the best use of this time that you made available to us. Give us insight that we may understand what we are studying and help us to remember it when the time comes. Above all, Lord, we thank you for the ability to be able to study and for the many gifts and talents you have bestowed upon us. Help us always to use them in such a way that they honor you and do justice to ourselves and to others. Amen. So let me begin the session with a quote again. So G.K. Nielsen said, successful people are not gifted. They just work hard, then succeed on purpose. And we know, since it's already graduation time, we see that most of our graduates, those who are acing those who are cream of the crop, we're not really that gifted at the beginning, but because of perseverance, because of hard work, because of all the effort that they have put into their studies and preparing for the graduation, they were able to make it, not only make it as a regular graduate, but also becoming the cream, one of the cream of the crop, or the cream of the crop. So that is also true with the examination. We may not be as gifted as the others, but once we put in a lot of effort in our preparation, once we we mix our faith with ourselves and with God, with all the hard work and perseverance, then surely success is not far from us. So I wish you good luck And I hope you'll enjoy our session tonight. There's so many of you, so I may not be able to call you all. As I present to you each of the questions, may I ask you to input the item number first, and then followed by the option or the choice, or the option that corresponds to your choice. So for example, if we are at item number 1, please write in the comment section or key in the comment section 1.2, for example, if you're choosing option 2 as your answer. All right. So keep on tagging also your friends so that they will be able to join us here. So I have divided tonight's session into 2, just the same pattern. And allow me later to explain, to make some of the explanations for the Filipino test part. Also in English, I'm more comfortable with the language than in Filipino. But I'll do try to speak in Filipino from time to time. All right, so let's get ready. Good evening for those who have just came in. Let's start. We have very simple directions for all of the items tonight. Read the questions carefully and then key in the number of the correct answer. So please do key in first the item number followed by the option of your choice. Number 1, get ready. Sander had a reputation for being very blank and self-centered. Not too many people want to get close to him. So we call these options as homophones. Homophones are words that have the same sound, but they are spelled differently and mean differently. Only that they sound almost the same, if not the same. Number 1, vine. Number 2, vein. Number 3, vein. And number 4, vein. All right. So we have, thank you, Ma'am Melody. For the others, I'd like to invite you to key in the item number first so that you know you will be able to keep track of your answers later on. So we have a varied answer so far. There are those who say 2 and 3. All right. And 1. Oh, all right. So well represented yung mga item, yung mga options natin for tonight. There's nobody who said 4. All right. But many responded 2. Let's see. Let's get to know the meaning of each word. Oh, there's one who says 4. Sige. Let's get to know the meaning of each word. So the first one is spelled as is sounded out as vine. So this is not part of the homophone group. Vine, it's a noun meaning a climbing or trailing woody stemmed plant of the grape family. So for example, a grape plant, it's a vine. Ano ba? Yung sa atin dito yung sitaw, and then yung kamote, I think, ano ba yung alugbati? I'm not so familiar with the terms anymore. All right. So, if you answered number 1, I think hindi po dito because we're referring to a plant. And we're talking about Sander, who had a reputation of being blank and self-centered. So the vine does not match the self-centeredness adjective for Sander. Let's take a look at number 2. It's vain. When we say vain, it's an adjective, all right? May fit in the sentence. So it means that if one is a vain person, he or she has or shows undue or excessive pride in one's appearance or achievements. So in other words, we call the person conceited. Okay? Let's go to number 3, option 3. It's still a noun, one of the system of branching vessels or tubes conveying blood from various parts of the body to the heart. So this one is part of the circulatory system, part of the body. may not fit in the sentence. All right, so we're looking for an adjective. And number 4, it's still a noun. A vane is a blade, a plate, or a sail in the wheel of a windmill to be moved by the air. So what we commonly know is the weather vane. All right. So among the many options here, we only have two. We only have option 2 being the adjective to pair the adjective self-centered, describing sender. So the correct answer here is 2. Very good so far. Most of you did answer in option 2. All right. For those who got it wrong, please do take note. If you do have your papers, or you can input it in your notes. Let's go to item number 2. All right. Just keep on tagging your friends so that they will be able to join us tonight. I love to stay in the mountains. It is peaceful and quiet. And the blank is fresh and clean. So we have 1, air, 2, 3, ear, and 4, air. All right. So parang unanimous, the group seems to be unanimous in their answer. It's option 1. All right, very good. A very familiar term for us. But let's go through each of the options first. So when you say air, it's a light breeze. Okay, so it is peaceful and quiet, and the light breeze is fresh and clean. All right. Good evening, Ma'am Karen. If we talk about air, so it's a conjunction. It is used, it's an archaic word, usually used in literary forms or literary articles. If you've read Shakespeare's work, there's a lot of them there. It means before in time. For example, I was driven for some half mile, we stopped. All right? So, parang no. Because the sentence uses the article the to introduce something. So we don't seem to be looking for a conjunction. The word the is not partnered with a conjunction. The word the is an article that usually introduces a noun. So we're looking for a noun. Option 3 is still a noun. All right, it's our ear, an organ sensitive to sound. All right, which allows us to recognize or receive sounds. And number 4 is still a noun. It's an heir. So it talks about a person who is usually handed down the wealth or property. And they are the fortunate ones. If you are an heir to a certain property or wealth, then surely you are fortunate. Okay? So here we have 3 nouns for an option, but we're talking about the mountain, and it seems that option 1 is, as in option 1 is the best answer here. Yes, sana all, Sir JC. Sana all air or heiress. All right. Let's go to number 3. Jane asked her parents to buy her a blank of shoes for the upcoming intramurals. Right. It's okay, Ma'am Marivic. So 1, pair, 2, pair, 3, pair, or 4, pair. So option 2, 3, and 4 are homophones. They are sounded the same, but they are spelled differently and mean differently. All right, and we're talking about shoes. So which one here to talk about 2 shoes of uniform appearance and size? Which one here would talk about it? Option 1, when we say peer with a double E, it's still a noun, but it means that the persons are belonging to the same societal group based on their age, their grade, or their status. So, for example, the bandmates welcome the new members as a peer. All right. If you choose option two, which I think nobody did. Oh, there's one. Okay. So if we say pear, this refers to a fruit. It's either greenish, it's either yellowish or brownish green. And I love this. This is part of my diet. So pear. All right. Number three, option three, pair. So this time it's a verb. It means to trim something, usually a plant, by cutting away its outer edges. Carlo paired his thumbnails with his knife. All right. So he doesn't have a nail cutter. Very resourceful person. All right. So pair. It's a verb. And then lastly, option four, it's pair, meaning a set of two things used together or regarded as a unit. For example, a pair of scissors, a pair of gloves. All right. So here, the best that we could arrive at is option four, indeed. You're all correct. Very good. Get ready for item number four. They have just moved into their newly built house. It was completely blank of furniture. 1, beer. 2, bear. 3, bear. And 4, beer. So 1 and 4 are the same, having the same sounds. And 2 and 3 have the same sounds too. All right. So everyone seems to agree. It's option 3. Let's check. So when you say beer, all right. So sa mga mahilig uminom dyan, then surely you're very familiar with this alcoholic drink. If you say option 2, which I think nobody did, it's either a noun referring to an animal, or it can be a verb as well to refer to being able to carry or endure, whether by physical or mental force. So, for example, if I get too boring tonight, please do bear with me. So, it's using the option 2 word. Number 3, bare, it's an adjective, meaning it's uncovered or unclothed, or if you're talking about a space, it's nearly empty. Nothing. There's nothing in there, or almost nothing in there. Or if now you're choosing option 4, beer, so it refers to a structure used to hold a coffin during a funeral, so that it's easier to move it from place to place. All right. So among the 4, it seems that number 1 is a noun, number 2 is a verb or a noun, number 3 is an adjective, and number 4 is also a noun. So we're referring to an adjective. It was completely blank of furniture. So we're talking about the noun. It was completely bare. Option 3 is the best answer, right? Option 4 po is a noun, so referring to something that holds the coffin for people to be able to carry it from place to place easier. So number 4 is not the best answer. Let's go to number 5. Sheila was seated so closely with Andre that she could smell the blank of his perfume. So here, our clue is the smell. By the way, if you're dealing with vocabulary test items, it's always best that before you answer, look for the clues. Of course, get to know the options, but before deciding on what answer to input, it's also best for us to look at context clues or clues that you can find within the sentence. So in this case, we have smell and then perfume. So we have 1 scent, 2 scent, 3 scent, and 4 accent. Okay, still a unanimous answer, option 3. Number 1, when you say scent with an SE, it's a verb. For example, you would say that I sent flowers to my mom. So you mean to say that you have delivered or packaged something for a person. It's a past tense of send. If you're choosing option 2, which is sent, you're talking about money value. For example, 5 cents, 25 cents. So it's a noun. All right. And what we're looking for in the sentence is also a noun. But we're talking about smell and perfume. So the value of money does not seem to fit here. 3, it refers to a smell, okay? Like the scent of freshly cut grass. I like this. Every time I pass by a newly mowed field, I like the scent of the freshly cut grass that I can smell. And number 4, accent, of course. This one refers to the stress or the emphasis on a particular part of something. Like you're getting an American accent or a British accent, as they say. So here. And among the 3 nouns that are presented here, indeed, you are right. Option 3 is the best answer that we could arrive at. All right. Very good so far. Let's go to number 6. A mature person blank responsibility for his own actions. So the clue, a person blank or taking responsibility for his own actions. 1, resumes. 2, assumes. 3, consumes. Or 4, presumes. Yay! Congratulations, Ma'am Laureline. It's a 5/5. What about the others? How much did you get from 1 to 5? Did you get it all correct? All right. So in number 6, we have a varied answers here. So far, we're getting option 2 and option 4. So either assumes or presumes. All right, Ma'am Aizin also gets 5/5. So between option 2 and option 4, let's check the meaning of each word. Oh, Sir Cyril too. Congratulations. And Ma'am Melody. All right. And ano ba? Is this Phil and Amy is a girl and a boy, a combination of a boy's name and a girl's name. All right. So keep on inputting your scores. Thank you so much. Very good. If you're getting a perfect score in the first set. So when we say resume, by the way, all of the words here in the options are verbs. So when we say resume, meaning to begin to do or to pursue after a certain pause or interruption. So for example, when I paused at 5, then when I continued, I resumed to item 6. Okay, so that's resume. A day later, normal service was resumed in the office. Okay, resumed. Does it seem to fit? A mature person blank responsibility for his own actions. It seems in the sentence, there's nothing there that says it was stopped or interrupted. So number 1, most probably is not. Number 2, assumes. Take or begin to have. So power or responsibility. And here in the sentence, we're seeing the word responsibility. He assumed full responsibility for all organizational work. All right, so option 2 may be the answer. Number 3, consume. So when you say consume, when you consume something, you eat it, you drink it, or you ingest it. Just like what you do with the food or any drinks that you can find. So people consume a good deal of sugar in soft drinks. right? Consume. Does not mention anything here about food or drinks. 3 may not be a good option for us. Presume, for those who have answered 4. Suppose that something is the case on the basis of probability. So there's no certainty. If you are just guessing, then you are presuming. So I presumed that the man had been escorted from the building based on facts that you have read or seen or heard. Then you can make a guess. So that's presume. All right? And it does not say anything about guessing here or does not mention anything about factual data. So the best answer that we could arrive at, you are correct, is to assume. To assume full responsibility for his own actions. Very good. Let's go to number 7. All right, let's talk about grammar this time. So we're done with the vocab part. We will meet the vocabulary test items later again towards the end of the English test part. But this time, let's proceed to grammar. Yay! My Melody gets 6/6 in vocab. Very good so far. Now, what I do as I prepare for tests like LET or CSE in terms of vocabulary is I keep a notebook with the word lists. And every day I add at least 2 of the words and I make sure to make use of the words in a sentence as I do converse with people. If I don't have anybody to converse with, I look at myself in the mirror and talk to myself using the word that I have newly learned, that I have learned for the day. And then every day adds another 2 or more, and then continuously. It's not good to just list down the words and get to know their meaning. Soon the meaning fades away and you don't get to imbibe what it really means. But if you make use of the word that you have learned in conversations, either with people or with yourself, then at least you are able to apply the word in the language that you are using. All right? Just a tip. So number 7, the student athletes think the game will be exciting because blank will give blank the chance to meet both local and foreign athletes. 1, it and us. 2, it and them. 3, they and us. Or 4, they and them. So varied yung answers natin. There's people saying 1, then there's 4, then there's 2. So nobody answered 3. Sige. So what are the clues in this sentence? Number 1, we have student athletes. There's a mention of student athletes. So the focus or the one being talked about are the student athletes who think that the game will be exciting. So the student athletes and the game are also the antecedents of the pronouns listed in the 4 options. Okay? So let's take a look at each one. Because blank will give. So what will give? So here, it refers to the game. The game will give. Who? The student athletes the chance to meet both local and foreign athletes. So if we replace, because in a sentence, we should not be redundant of using the words, and so we make use of pronouns to refer to the nouns that are first being mentioned. So let's replace the game. Okay, so the game, it's singular, and so we say it. Okay, so it's option 1 or 2, and there's people answering option 1 or 2. We cannot use the word they for the game. We can use these instead. The game or this game or these games, all right? But not they, because they is a personal pronoun. So it refers to a person. All right? And then so it will give who? So the best answer we could arrive at here is them. There's no mention of the speaker. If you use the word us, then you include the speaker and the student athletes. But there's no mention of the speaker here. Hence, we use the third person pronoun, which is them. If we're using the word us, then it's a second person pronoun to include the student athletes and the speaker. But there's no mention of the speaker here. So the best answer here is option 2. The student athletes think the game will be exciting because it will give them the chance to meet both local and foreign athletes. Very good. And majority of you said it's 2 indeed. Very good for those who got it right. Yeah. So the the use of them is a third person pronoun. Very good. So Ma'am Melody is getting a perfect score so far. Let's go to number 8. I'm Coach Sha, as you can see on the screen. After Ray blank his love letter, he sealed it in an envelope. Wow, I like this. I like this item. It makes me think about my teenage years, the love letter days. All right. So after Ray blank his love letter, he sealed it in an envelope. 1 writes, 2 wrote, 3 has written, or 4 had written. This one reviews us on verb tenses. So we have the present tense, the simple past tense. We have the 2 perfect tenses, which I actually love in discussing. All right. So varied. So 1, 2, and 3. All right. Nobody represents for number 4, for option 4. All right. What are our clues? The first clue, we said there's the word after, and then Ray, there's a mention of the first action done. So Ray blank, that's the first action. And then there's a second action done after the first action, so sealed. And if you chose, so there's somebody representing option 4 already in the name of Ma'am April. All right. So if you chose writes, it's a simple present tense verb, and usually the simple present tense of the verb do not go together with the past. Notice the word sealed, the second action. So after Ray writes his love letter, he sealed it in an envelope. The simple present and the simple past tense don't go together. Let's have a review of the simple present tense. So these are the verbs that you see represented by is, are, or am, like he is happy, I am sad. Ano ba? Just very simple sentences. Or the verbs that you see with an S form. Or sometimes just the base form, like he sings or he sings. So these are the base form of the verb. And these verbs are what we use when we express general truth. So the one mentioned, the one in the statement is not talking about yeah, the action happened, but it's not a general truth. It is not also a habit, as it said that after he blanked something, he sealed it in an envelope. So it's not also a habit. It's also not talking about permanent situation, or it's also not giving directions. So if you mentioned one, that is not the best answer. Yeah, correct. Sir Franklin, we should remember parallelism. if it's in the other verb is in the past tense, to maintain verb tense consistency, we have to follow the same tense for other verbs that are mentioned. So what we're looking for here is a past tense of the verb. And when we say past tense of the verb, there are three more classifications. It's either the simple past tense, the simple the past progressive or continuous tense. We also have the past perfect tense or apat pala. The past perfect progressive tense. As long as the action or the tense that is observed maintains the past form. Parallelism or parallel structure. Tama po. Pero, kung sinabi mo namang wrote, if you mentioned wrote, correct, it's in the past tense. And mind you, has written is also a past form of the verb. Kasi nga, with the word written, even if it has the word has, don't get confused. Even if it does have the word has, which is in the present tense, but the written here signals that the action is already done. So the 2, 3, and 4 options are all past forms of the verb. Nagkakaiba lang po sila sa classification. So, may not necessarily, tama po, a perfect tense. So, 3 and 4 are perfect tenses. So, if sinabi mong to wrote, all right, let's have a review of our simple past form. When you say simple past form, ito yung mga nag-change ng spelling. If it's a regular verb like write, wrote, drive, drove, or ito din po yung mga nag-a-add ng D or ED, like dance, danced, plant, planted, all right? But when do we use them? We use the simple past form of the verb when we want to express a completed action in the past. And indeed, we're talking about Ray blank sealing the envelope, and then after he wrote it, all right? So, a completed action in the past. Pero isa lang po or dalawa sila. To describe a series of completed actions in the past. So number 1, to express a completed action in the past, it's just one action done in the past. Done in the past. Pero if you mention a series of them here, we still take note of parallelism. So for example, I finished work. Finished is past. And then walked is past. And found is also past. But you mentioned them in series. They are not separated by any conjunction. All right? Separated by a conjunction and pala. Kasi nga, the and or the or are conjunctions used to separate the last idea in a series. Right? But it's either and or lang. In our case, in our sentence, the conjunction used is after. Right? Or we also use the simple past form of the verb to express habits in the past. So, Ray sealing the envelope after he wrote the letter does not necessarily talk about a habit. All right? So, I'd say if you're choosing option 2, it's not. All right? Because it's although there are 2 completed actions, but they are not listed down in the series. And the conjunction that we use is the word after. So one action happened after another, right? If you wrote option 3, which is has written, agreeable, because Ray is singular, has agrees with the subject in terms of number. Let's review the present perfect tense. I told you earlier, although it's in the word, it uses the word present, but still it mentions about an action which is already completed or done. For example, I have tried sushi. So present perfect tenses of the verbs are those which have, has, or have, plus the past participle form of the verb. For example, have tried, have written, right? And when do we use this? So it is used to express things that you have done in your life. For example, I have been to I have been to London. All right. So I have done it before. Although factually I have not been there. So I would rather say I have not been to London. All right. So it expresses something that I have not done in my life. All right. Or to express the number of times that you have done something. So I have conducted review sessions for CSE before, or I have conducted civil service examination reviews for a number of times. So, have conducted. We say to describe recently completed actions, but are still important now. I have some bad news. I've lost my job. I have lost my job. So, past. To express situations that started in the past but are still true right now. For example, I have known James since I was in kindergarten, or I have known James for 4 or 5 years now. So, all these, all right? So, going back to the sentence, we say, after Ray blank his love letter, he sealed it in an envelope. All right? I'd rather say this is also wrong. So the best answer here that we could arrive at is had written. There's the first action after an action, a second action happened after the first one, which is signaled by the word after. Let's talk about past perfect tense to get us more clarified about it. It's okay, Ma'am Rosalind. So, when do we use the past perfect tense? Ito po yung tense ng verb which is introduced by the word had, like had finished, had written, had conducted, and so on. Wow, congratulations, ma'am or Sir Phil Amy. Perfect pa din. So, this this past perfect tense of the verb is used to describe an action finished before another past action, and this explains it. So one action is finished before or after another. So the first one, usually the pairing is simple past and then past perfect tense. Let's go back to our sentence here. So this action happened before Ray had written his love letter. It happened first before another action occurred. So after he wrote, he had written it, he then sealed it. So the first action is using, or the first action uses the past perfect tense, and then to pair it, the second action uses the simple past form. Hence, had written and sealed. All right? Yeah, that's the spirit, Ma'am Charmaine. At least may natutunan. All right? So now, I hope I was able to clarify you on this, the difference between simple past and past perfect. All right. You look for past perfect tenses, you look for two verbs, two past forms of the verbs in the sentence, and look for the words, signal words, either before or after. So the before or after signals that the verbs did not happen at the same time. Instead, one happened before or after another. Okay? Pero if the verbs, there are two or more verbs listed in the sentence, and all of them happened in the past, make sure that they happened at the same time, all right? Or happened in the same time frame in the past para you can consider using the simple past like wrote. Okay? Sige. You're welcome po, Mama Marivic. That's why we are here. All right? Now, let's go to another one. This is still about verbs. And this one focuses on conditionals. We have the first, the zero, the first, the second, and the third conditionals. If you blank given a chance to go abroad, which country blank you like to visit first? So this is conditional because it does not happen, neither it is factual. But if, the sentence is introduced by the word if this happens, blank. All right. So is it are or and will, were and will, are and would, or were and would? Okay, well represented again yung mga options natin, iba-iba. Pero majority of you answered for, no? Okay. Let's talk about conditional statements. Okay? Sige. So here is our clue. It starts with an if. So if it's a conditional statement and a chance to go abroad, meaning it is not factual. So paano kung mangyari ito? All right? So when we say zero conditional, that's a factual statement to talk about things that are always true, like a scientific fact. For example, if you freeze water, it turns into ice. So notice the verbs, they are in the simple present tense. If you heat water at 100 degrees, it boils. So the sentence, our given sentence is not factual. All right? So the zero conditional here does not work. If we talk about the first conditional, this talks about possibilities in the present or in the future. But in this case, you're still using the simple present and pair it with a simple future tense. If it rains, I will stay at home. If I wake up, I will miss the bus. If I wake up late, I will miss the bus. So it talks about possibilities in the present and the future. Parang our sentence does not fit in there or in here. Let's talk about the second conditional. This one is an imaginary situation. And earlier, sino ba? Somebody mentioned that the item is Sir Franklin said it's a zero conditional statement, and indeed it's right. You're right, Sir Frank. So we're talking about imaginary situations. All right. Imagine that you win a lotto. Okay, a lotto prize. What will you do, or what would you do if you were to win in the lotto? What would you buy first? All right. So if I won $1,000,000, I would buy a new car. And if we're using the second conditional statement, we're using the were, the simple past form in the if clause, and pair it with a would or wouldn't, or could or couldn't as the modal with the base form of the verb. If I were you, I would quit smoking. Right? Now, let's talk about the third conditional. So this one is still talking about imaginary situations like the second conditional, but this one talks about situations in the past. So the ones that have happened. If I had got a gold medal, I would have been happy. Pero hindi nga siya nakakuha ng gold medal. If I had met Susan last week, I would have given her the book. Pero he was not able to meet her, right? So dito, if you were given a chance to go abroad, which country would you like to visit first? If you answered 4, you're right. Very good. Yes, and many of you did answer 4. Very good. Let's go to number 10. So this one is a pairing of conjunctions. Oh, Ma'am Melody is still getting a perfect score. Special heat sensors on the front of the rattlesnake's head enable it blank to detect the presence of prey in the dark, blank to strike its victim accurately. Thank you for the positive feedback, Ma'am Marivic. So one, which pair of conjunctions here would work? They are called correlative. These are called correlative conjunctions, by the way. One goes always with the other. So one, not only, but also. Two, in addition, due, or usually due to. Three, whether or. And four, either or. So which one ba? So four or one. We are torn between, although there's somebody representing for each of the options, but majority says one, and many also answered four. All right, sige. Majority says one. Let's go to this. So there are two things that happen. What are our clues? The special heat sensors enable. What does it help the rattlesnake? Two, one, to detect, and two, to strike. So if we take a look at this, our best answer here is, all right, let's say, not only but also. So this is used to present two related pieces of information. So is one, to detect, and two, to strike are related information. For example, you would say, she is not only beautiful, but also bright. So beautiful and bright are two related information describing she. Are the two things highlighted here related information to talk about what a special heat sensor can do? Let's go to the second one. In addition or due. She's a fitness instructor in addition to being a full-time student. So parang no. All right? And then option 3, whether or. This is used to express a doubt or choice between alternatives. So he seemed undecided whether to go or to stay. Are these two alternatives or related pieces of information? And number 4, either or, the same thing. So used before the first of two alternatives. Either I'll accompany you or I'll wait here. So let's take a look at our sentence. Are they alternatives or two related information? I think they are related information. So the special heat sensors enable the rattlesnake, 1, to detect the presence of prey, and 2, to strike its victim accurately. So it enables it not only to detect, but also to strike. All right? Very good. So we're getting option 1. Let's go to 11. So we're going back to vocab test items once again. Wow. Perfect talaga si Ma'am Melody. Very good. Your cousin claimed to be late because the doors of his house were frozen shut. Even though I have my doubts, his explanation is plausible. It got really cold last night, so I'll just have to take his word for it. If a statement is plausible, blank. Oh, dalawa yung perfect scorer natin, si Phil, Amy, tsaka si Melody. You must always believe it. 2, you should never believe it. 3, it's believable enough to possibly be true. Or 4, it's hard to understand because it makes no sense. Yay! That's the spirit, Ma'am Laurelyn. Tama po. Kahit hindi perfect, at least nadagdagan yung kaalaman natin today. So, yeah, unanimous yung answer natin in number 11. It's 3. All right. Sige. So when we say, what are our clues in this sentence? What are the clues or the context clues that we can find? So the cousin's claim is that the doors of his house were frozen shut. And then the person says, I have my doubts. But the fact is, it got really cold last night. And so the person says, oh, his explanation is plausible because it got really cold last night. So I'll just have to take its word for it. So if you answered 4, it's hard to understand because it makes no sense. That is not the best answer. Notice the logic. There's a claim, the doors are frozen shut, and then the person doubting on the other end. But what was true is that it got really cold last night. So things make sense, all right? And so the best answer here is 3. It's believable enough to possibly be true. And so the person said, I'll just have to take his word for it. Okay? Very good po. Yeah. Let's go to number 12. Only an hour or so had passed before a tremendous roar shook the ground. At that very moment, a strange gray creature materialized before our eyes. It resembled a lizard in shape. It was about 10 feet high at the shoulders and at least 50 feet long. What did the creature do? 1, it whipped its tail back and forth. 2, it showed its sharp teeth. 3, it stamped its feet. Or 4, it appeared. All right. Let's see. Majority of you says a 4. Let's take a look at the other options. What are our clues here? So there's a tremendous roar, which shook the ground. And then there's the presence of a strange gray creature materializing before the eyes of the people. Right? If you say it whipped its tail back and forth, yeah. So there's a mention of lizard, and so a lizard has a tail. But in terms of whipping its tail back and forth, there's nothing here mentioned in the sentence or in the paragraph. So option 1 is wrong. If you mentioned option 2 and 3, there's no mention here about the teeth, even how sharp it is. There's no description here. And it stamped its feet. There's one mention of feet, but it's about the size, at least 50 feet long. But as to what its feet did, there's nothing mentioned in there. So the best answer here is it appeared. A strange gray creature materialized before our eyes. So if it materialized before our eyes, then it appeared and we can see it. So the best answer here is 4. All right? Let's go to number 13. The lead star of the magical show did many blank performances which the children enjoyed very much. 1, these are idiomatic expressions, all right? So 1, odds with someone. 2, snake in the grass. 3, chasing rainbow. Or 4, sleight of hand. Slide of hand. 3, all right. What are our clues here? So there's the magician performing a magical show, and he got a lot of performances which the children enjoyed very much. Which of the following idiomatic expressions fit with the performance? All right, so between 3 and 4. Sige. But let's talk about 1 and 2 first. When you say odds with someone, that's wrong. It means not agreeing with each other. So odds with someone. So the persons involved are in disagreement with each other. So the two groups have long been at odds with each other. So no. Number 2, snake in the grass. Huh. So nobody wants to go with this person. A secretly faithless friend. And I wish nobody from among us here has this. Don't trust him. He looks honest, but he's a snake in the grass. All right? Yeah, nobody did answer that. Chasing rainbow, let's see. What does it mean? To pursue goals that are unrealistic. A rainbow, we cannot really reach that. Fanciful or unlikely to happen. So it's not possible to reach a rainbow. So to chase it even is not possible, although they claim that there's a pot of gold at the end. So it's unlikely to happen. It's fanciful, unrealistic. I know you want to become an actor, but I think you should stop chasing rainbows and get an office job. So the best answer that we could arrive at here is sleight of hand. Notice the pronunciation, sleight of hand. Speed and skill of the hand when performing tricks. Using sleight of hand, the magician was able to trick audience members into thinking the hand had disappeared. So sleight of hand performances, so very fast, speedily and skillful play of hands to perform tricks that the children enjoyed very much. So the best answer is 4. Right? Oh, sige. Number 14. Joseph and Marvin had a nasty fight, but they decided to bury the hatchet and move on. 1, bury the dead. 2, kill the enemy. 3, remember the past. Or 4, forget the past quarrel. Okay. I think nagkamali lang po si Mamba or si Sir Phil in counting the numbers. It's okay. Sige. So between 3 and 4. All right. What are our clues here? So there's the nasty